Welcome to another Downers Grove Township Democrats candidate Q&A. Today with Lester Vaughan, running for DuPage County Forest Preserve District 3. Lester, tell us about yourself.
My name is Lester Vaughan. I am a former alderman in Darien, Illinois, where I served 6 years on the city council, married with 2 children. I have 20 plus years in business experience working for a technology company in business development.
What's the position you're running for and why is it important?
I am running for DuPage County Forest Preserve Commissioner in District 3. I'm running because I think it's important that we protect our forest reserves from things like climate change, preserve our forest reserves and our native species of the land with habitat restoration. And I also believe that it's important for us to connect communities to provide them access to nature, to promote social and emotional well-being for those who are struggling with mental health issues. I think it's critical that we give them access to nature and continue to do that to benefit our future generations.
Why are you the right person for this job?
I am the right person for this job because I think we need a new voice of leadership. Leadership that is not afraid to have the tough conversations about climate change. We need leaders that have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in today's world. And I think that with my experience as alderman and what I've done to advocate for walkability programs for our city and advocating for clean air in our city, I think it's important that we have leadership that's willing to have those tough conversations and also to stand up against those who are polluting our air.
What motivated you to run for this position?
In 2018, we had a business in our community that had been there for 30 years, right? So it became known to us that this business, which was a medical sterilization company, was emitting toxic chemicals into the air, right, called ethylene oxide. So we got wind of that as a community, and this company had been there for 30 plus years, right, and under the radar, never really regulated, but had caused all these different forms of cancer in our community. And so we formed a group called Stop Stereogenics, which my wife played a big role in. And as an alderman, I had an opportunity to see that up front of how a community came together and leaders came together from the state to the local level. And that's why it's important that we have leadership that understands the threat that we're up against, not just climate change, but the threat of pollution in our communities and how we can advocate for change and be able to come together as a community and as leaders to help push that change forward. So during that process, my opponent never showed up to any of those rallies, never showed up to show support for those who had been impacted by a polluter in our community. So this is why I'm running. It's because it's personal and it's also the right thing to do for our community.
If there is one change you could enact in your position right away, what would it be?
There's one change or one thing that I would enact right away. I would accelerate our investment in renewable energy, solar. I believe that it's important that we do this to mitigate climate change in our community and our local forest reserves. So whatever investments we can do or whatever conversation I can start on that front, I know it's an initiative of our President Dan Hebiar is to bring it to net zero. It's a global initiative to bring our greenhouse gases to net zero as well. So I think that the more that we can do on that front and also creating accessibility for our communities, is important. I think that would be 2 initiatives. I know you asked for 1, but I think that would be 2 initiatives, is accelerating our investments in technology and climate change, and creating accessibility for our communities and our children.
Why is it important to vote in November and keep showing up at every election?
It's important to vote in November because I believe that all elections are local, right? So the things that affect your day-to-day or our day-to-day are not just the presidency or how historical it would be, but it's also our local municipalities that have an effect on our day-to-day life. So it's important because it's a fundamental right. There's so many people that have died for the right to vote, and I think we need to preserve that. And I think that we should always exercise our vote, our ability to vote, and never take it for granted.